Today, we're going to be ranking and analysing all 48 World Cup teams in 48 minutes. I've examined the tapes, so you guys don't have to. I'm going to be giving you guys my player to watch for each nation, what to expect, and of course, because we love learning on this channel, a cheeky little fun fact about each country along the way. Now, you guys know me, or if you don't, if you're new here, I am a nerd when it comes to football. So I am doing this for the love of the game. But if you do appreciate the ridiculous amount of hours that has gone into this, I just ask you for one thing. Subscribe, help us on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Let's get that plaque. Spam the comments, boost the algorithm, like, hype, share, do whatever. Let me know what team you're going to be supporting this World Cup. Let me know who has the best kit, what players you're going to be investing in. Spam as many comments as you like. I don't care. Knock yourself out. Let's tuck in. Enough yapping from me. We're going to be starting with my personal 48th ranked team, Curaçao. Listen, big respect to Curaçao. It is even a miracle these guys even made it here, because the smallest nation in World Cup history is being managed by the oldest coach in World Cup history. That is, of course, Dick Advocaat, who will be putting all his eggs in the Bacuna basket. Many of you may be familiar with the captain, Leandro Bacuna. Obviously, he's had times at bigger teams in the European leagues. But, in my opinion, the player to watch will be his younger brother, Juninho Bacuna, who is a bit more creative, licensed to roam. So, although it's like a bit of a 4-3-3 here, it's more likely going to be a 4-2-3-1. He gets the ball, drives at defenses. Listen, they're going to be hoping to, I guess, exploit counters and the speed they've got up top. Granted, the defense, not many household names there, but it's a very tight-knit unit, a tough team to break down. And of course, listen, it is their debut campaign. They've got nothing to lose. And the Curaçao, their nickname is the Blue Waves. They will be hoping to make waves at their first ever World Cup. Speaking of waves, a fun fact about Curaçao: they are known as the underwater paradise, with over 60 sites for scuba diving and snorkeling. Unfortunately for them, they have scuba dive and submerge themselves all the way to bottom of our power rankings. One place above them, next up, is Jordan in 47th. Now, I'm going to start with a fun fact because it's kind of in keeping with the topic, because the Dead Sea is the lowest recorded point on Earth at 420 meters below sea level. So they are rock bottom, but in my rankings, they just about survive. And why are they above Curaçao, you may ask? Listen, not a lot of incredible names there. You might be familiar maybe with Musa Altomari. That's my player to watch. Other than that, this team is more of a unit, right? They've been to the Arab Cup final, the Asia Cup final as well. Granted, lost out in unfortunate circumstances, you may argue. They are in no rush to go anywhere, right? They're here for a good time, not for a long time. It's not going to be some high pressing machine where it's just, you know, chaos ball. They will just sit there, soak up the pressure in their three back. Like I mentioned, all hope lies with Musa Altomari, who again plays in League One. He's the only one that plays in a different league, and their star strikers out as well. Get the ball forward and just hope for a miracle. And from a very pragmatic style of play, we go one up to Haiti in 46, who are the complete opposite. It's going to be free-flowing 1v1, nothing rigid about how Haiti play whatsoever. You're going to be seeing overlapping runs, underlapping runs. Now, of course, this does mean that they are susceptible to being caught in behind, because again, that lack of structure can come back to haunt you at times. But you look at the team sheet, you see two names in particular that stand out. Up top, we've got my player to watch for Haiti, Wilson Isidore of Sunderland. Had a solid, you know, start to life in the Premier League with Sunderland. He's rapid in behind. Even faster, perhaps, is Don Deaton on the right wing. But they're not about the, yeah, let's wait and build up slowly. Nah. It's going to be, how can your enemy know your next move if you don't know your next move? That is how Haiti play. But if you look in the midfield, they've got Bellegarde, who's obviously come in. He's playing for Haiti now, and he has been someone that has controlled that midfield to plug any gaps that were previously being exploited. And another thing that's very important, our fun fact about Haiti, they are known for having some of the nicest beaches in the world. The climate is fantastic, and for them, this hot weather they're speaking about, they're going to be used to it. I'm not going to give my spoilers now because the prediction video will be tomorrow. Subscribe for that one. But it's going to be difficult for Haiti. At least they'll be very fun to watch. Now, the team above you might confuse you, but hear me out, because in 45th, we have New Zealand. Why are they here, given that Haiti just slapped them 4-0? And of course, last night, England beat them 1-0. They're the lowest ranked nation in the FIFA rankings at this World Cup. But for me, they're 45th because I'm giving them a bit of heritage tax. And also, if you've got a 9 like Chris Wood, who can get you a goal. Chris Wood was there at the last World Cup. He's getting on a little bit now, right? The experience is there, but he's getting on a bit. Their player to watch now is Tim Payne. Not for the reasons you may be thinking. If you're unfamiliar, Tim Payne was, about 3 weeks ago, the footballer at the World Cup with the lowest following in the world. I think he had about 4,000 IG followers. He now has over 5 million. Now, listen, they're going to be playing with a bit of a narrow 4-2-3-1. If we're talking about footballistically, by the way, maybe the guy is Elijah Just. Obviously, if you watch Scottish League, you'll be familiar with him. That's their go-to guy for creativity. But hey, listen, if they're playing narrow, I'm expecting their wing-backs to be bombing forward. So I want to see Tim Payne bombing up and down like he's Hakimi, because he's got 5 million eyes watching now. Our fun fact for them, only 5% of the population in New Zealand is human beings. The rest is all animals and wildlife and whatnot. So at this point, they better start scouting all the penguins and the kiwis and the kangaroos to make their own La Masia. Speaking of animals, next up, we've got the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde, hoping to show some bite at this World Cup, courtesy of Livramento up top with his 4 goals in qualifying. Now, you look at this 11, I mentioned previously about wing-backs bombing forward. Here, it's the opposite. The wing-backs, they kind of tuck inside, and it's the wingers that get their chalk on the boots. But, you ask me, who am I looking out for? What am I watching for? Shall I be honest? The fans. If you've watched AFCON, you know what I'm talking about. When the camera pans to the fans, that is when you should be up out your seat. The play style, maybe not so much, but when the fans are on the camera, I'm not going to say too much. If you know, you know. Let me know in the comments. But listen, this is a team that is going to be very, very strong from set pieces. Just under half of their goals in qualifying came from set pieces. The depth is where it's lacking, right? If it's not their best 11, they're lacking the numbers. And to be fair, given our fun fact, before 1456, obviously for those of us who remember, Cape Verde was an uninhabited island, right? There were no human beings there when Portugal were ruling. It was just, again, animals and wildlife and that. So by that token, it's understandable that they still need to, you know, wait a few more decades to spawn in some regens and get some players to be backups for their starting 11. Next up, we have Qatar. Now, a while back, I was in Saudi to watch Al Nassr versus Al Sadd, and my player to watch for Qatar is Afif, who scored the opening goal, and it literally was basically just get the ball to him and pray. Similarly for Qatar, it's going to be the same story again. It wasn't a great World Cup for Qatar on the whole, but I mean, straight afterwards, 2023, they did win the Asia Cup, so there's some promising signs. They're not as familiar with playing away from home because, of course, they hosted the last World Cup, and so therefore they didn't have to play really any away games to qualify and whatnot. And speaking of hosting, listen, our fun fact for Qatar, Qatar Airways has been voted the best airline in the world. So if they are to go home early, at least they've got a nice luxurious flight to look forward to. Uzbekistan next. They are coached by 2006 World Cup winning captain Fabio Cannavaro. So of course, it makes sense that our player to watch is Kusanov of Manchester City. His recovery pace is going to be crucial for this team because the back line isn't the strongest. As you can see, they've gone for a back 3 now because listen, he ain't Jon Snow, right? He can't do every single thing all by himself. He needs a bit of help there. But to be fair, our fun fact for Uzbekistan, their greatest hero of all time is Amir Timur, who was born back in 1337, for those of us who remember, in Shahrisaz. He was a undefeated commander, right? They all look up to him as an inspiration. Well, the new gen, if Uzbekistan can even get 1 win, he might surpass them. Kusanov. It's going to be a lot of responsibility on the wing-backs to try and get forward because the other end of the pitch, they've got someone who is familiar, however, with scoring goals. Over 20 goals for Istanbul Basaksehir for Shomurodov this season. Like I said, there's not a lot going on in midfield, so it's going to be a tough one. Speaking of tough, Iraq qualified for this World Cup, one of the toughest routes possible and on the last day possible. But big ups to them, much like in 1986, the last time they were here, the only other time, they've not got a lot to lose. My player to watch is Ali Jassim. He might not even be a starter in this team, but he's a very creative winger, someone that can dribble players 1v1, create chances. However, listen, word to Ahmad, their main hope is corner. They are more strong from set pieces and crossing it in to Ali Hussein, if you remember the goal against Bolivia, a 6'2" striker, than they are from creating from open play. So somehow get the ball forward, win set pieces. That is their main hope, rather than trying to get the goals from open play. But fun fact for you guys, we owe the Sumerians, the early inhabitants of the land now called Iraq. These guys invented writing over 5,000 years ago. Unfortunately for them, looking at this group, I will be writing them off. We go now to Panama, and fun fact, the Panama Canal is now over 100 years old, and if we're keeping on the topic of age, Panama have the oldest average age squad in this entire tournament, 30 years old. Player to watch, Adalberto Carrasquilla. Fantastic name, first and foremost. That's class. But he was also the first Panamanian, I believe they're called, to win the CONCACAF Player of the Year 2024. So he'll be holding down that midfield. As a Ghanaian, I was hoping that when I fly to Toronto, this would be the one game that I say, you know what, I can get a nice calm win here. But watching their friendly against Brazil, I sat there and I thought, these guys are attacking like crazy. Cutbacks upon cutbacks. Granted, some missed chances, but still a very competent team. Next up, we have Iran. Now, this was tricky because it's tough to rank them, right? When it comes to on the pitch, footballistically, they qualified pretty comfortably, right? But off the pitch, of course, there is so much drama and controversy surrounding, of course, one of our host nations. I can't say too much. I don't want to get booted out when I fly there very soon. It appears as though they're going to be having to fly to the games on the day and fly home immediately to wherever their main base is, which is, again, a bit unfortunate. It's of course going to affect their preparations, and the team itself, there's not a lot going on here anymore, man. I used to like watching them, 2014 times. It was fun. Now it's basically just try and get the ball to Taremi and, hope for the best. Now, they've got a bit of a weapon up their sleeve. My player to watch, Mehdi Gayedi, he's someone that is definitely a quick winger who can get in behind, take guys on 1v1, which is something that Iran have maybe been lacking. But listen, many people criticize Iran. For me personally, they have changed our broke our lives, right? We owe them quite a lot. Forget about the oil exports and whatnot. They've given us, the greatest exporters of saffron, which, saffron rice with your juju kebab, incredible. And they've also exported something else fantastic to many, many nations. I'm not going to say too much, don't snitch, but if I say highly Ziba, you know what I'm talking about. Wonderful exports. Thank you so much, Iran. Next up, Australia. Good eye, mate. They're going to be playing a 3-4-3. Suter back in that back line at the perfect time back from injury. But one thing that's different to their previous World Cup experience, if you look up top, they've got a couple brothers now. And I'll tell you what, the PNP on these guys. My player to watch, of course, Nestori Irankunda. We seen him, a couple years ago when they started the whole Bayern links. And of course, he moved to England and whatnot. He's got a crazy bullet of a shot from any angle. Motori, if you are a championship watcher, he's been banging in goals for Norwich, so he's coming to the tournament on good form as well. A fun fact for me, for Australia, the Great Barrier Reef is over 1,400 miles long. They are going to need that barrier in front of their backline because the midfield is where we have a bit of questions and we need some protection for that back three. And from G'day, mate, to Salam Alaikum, Saudi Arabia. We will never forget that iconic opening day victory against Argentina. Of course, Al Dosari with that one. But he is now getting on a little bit, right? 34 years of age, don't get me wrong. He's still star boy, star unk, if you will. A bit like myself, a bit of a star unk. But it is time to hand over the keys to Al Juwair, who is a bit younger. He's someone that can dribble. Now, fun fact, Saudi Arabia is the kingdom of oil, right? Holding 70% of the world's oil reserve. And this is a well-oiled machine of a team at this point because they are very familiar with each other. Of course, predominantly all playing in the same league. Bar Abdul Hamid, who you guys may be familiar with, winning the French Cup or whatever the cup thing is called over there in France. Fantastic player. Someone, again, a clamps of a defender. But the one thing that's going to be tough to analyze, they've just got a new coach. So it's not going to be the same as 2022. So it's difficult to know how they'll play. But one thing's for certain, they'll be there to win their duels, get the ball up and fight for every second ball and get that speed in behind cooking. Next up, DR Congo, a team that made it through via the playoffs. And this is going to be rock and roll football. Forget about the build-up. It is going to be rapid counter upon rapid counter. The only problem maybe, they're a little bit wasteful when it comes to chances. For all he's done for the country, I would love to have seen Balassi at this tournament. Speaking of doing things for the country as well, it's worth noting before we get into the tactical side of things, our fun fact, I suppose, Lumumba, the man who puts his one arm in the air, standing there every game, doing so for the values of dignity, freedom, and just giving awareness to what's going on in Congo right now. That's fantastic from him. But my player to watch is not him. Big respect to him. It is, of course, Sadiki, who at Sunderland has been, again, a bit of a revelation, 21 years old. And that backline, listen, it is very difficult to get past. You got Wan-Bissaka, Mbemba, Twanzebe, who have scored the winning goal against Jamaica to get them through. Staying in Africa, we got one of my favorite teams, South Africa. Another one, direct, high tempo, high energy football. My player to watch, however, is not among all those forwards. It's at the back. We have Mbokazi. If you guys know me by now, you know I love this player. It's been a year or two by now. He's got his move to the MLS, but I'm thinking after this tournament, I want to see him playing in the Premier League. He is fantastic defensively, and he's got an absolute rocket of a shot on him as well. Now, the forwards, they do tend to miss a few chances as well. But, you know, I really like Reli Boheli Mofokeng. Sibili Bili is a good player as well. This is going to be chaos, and you know me, I love chaos. In fact, our fun fact, Nelson Mandela's original birth name, Rolilala, stands for troublemaker, which, hey, listen, these guys are going to be hoping to make trouble and chaos in the final third. I can't wait. We stay in Africa again because next up we have Tunisia. Listen, qualifiers, they were excellent, conceding just 1 goal in 10 games. But at the other end, they are struggling. In their last 4 games, they've only scored 1 goal. In fact, it was 4 games ago in a 1-0 win against Haiti. So you can see it's a bit tough. They've gone for a lot more of a younger team to freshen it up a little bit, but they do look more open in transitions now. Fun fact for you guys, a lot of Star Wars scenes were filmed in Tunisia in the village of Tatooine. And, you know, listen, word to Han Solo, they better not leave Han Solo in the midfield. Hannibal Medri, that is our player to watch. If they leave him alone in that midfield, it could get dark in transitions. He is their primary chance creator, and they'll need him to be at his best. Next up, a team with real World Cup heritage. We have Czechia, who back in their Czechoslovakia days made the final on 2 occasions. Obviously, back in 1934 and 1962. For those of us who remember, we mentioned heritage. Their heritage is going 3-4-2-1, direct Route 1 brick house footy. Yankola days, Milan Baros and whatnot. With their set piece dominance and corners in particular, don't be surprised if you start seeing Suchek doing his, you know, helicopter aeroplane celebration. Fun fact, Czechia is home to the largest ancient castle in the world and the home of over 2,000 different castles. So they'll be hoping to tower over all these players from the corners. But our player to watch is Pavel Sulch, who plays more so in between the lines. 25-year-old attacking midfielder playing for Lyon. He can do the little intricate dribbling, create the chances 1v1, slip in, shake in behind to get his goals. Next up, one of our home nations, Canada. Now I know what you're thinking already. Who on earth is my man in the players to watch? Ryan Lever. He is Canada's lead physiotherapist for sports. Because I need to find out whether or not Alphonso Davies is going to play. So I'm going to be watching Ryan Lever like a hawk to see if he's playing, because he is the entire glue for this team. I know he's a left back, but you watch Canada, he is basically playing everywhere. Up front, as a 10, as a DM, centre back, he does everything. Now, if that hamstring v PSG keeps him out, then we're looking towards maybe Eustachio, who was the star of the show in the last World Cup. But they've got that home tax, the crowd will be behind them, so maybe they can put on a bit of a show. Fun fact, Canadian James Naismith invented basketball in 1891, and unfortunately for them, these guys seem to be lacking a bit of discipline, giving away too many fouls and yellows and whatnot. So I'm not sure if they think they're still playing by basketball rules, but in football. Next up, we've got a very possession-based team in South Korea. Now, this is a team that they're going to work hard, they're going to run around a lot, but they are technically sound. It's not going to be just complete chaos ball running for the sake of it. No, far from it. Kang In Lee, I like him a lot, but at PSG, he's not been getting a lot of minutes. And then Kim Min-jae at the back has also been on the bench quite a lot this season too. So my player to watch, assuming that Son plays on the left actually, will be Oh Hyun-ju, the Besiktas striker, who will play up top. Our fun fact for you guys regarding South Korea is that Squid Game is the #1 most viewed series in Netflix history. I don't have a similar joke to make after it because I don't want to get like bagged or something in case they try to say, oh, you can't say that. So big up Squid Game, what a show that was. Next up, we have a wonderful, wonderful nation by the name of Ghana. This is going to be complete chaos ball. In front of you, you can see a 4-4-2, but this could end up being a 3-4-2-1, a 4-2-3-1. Our playing style is basically just, Chale, make you pass, let me shine. That's it. Very, very bipolar team, because when it comes to World Cup qualifiers, sailed through. Plain sailing. AFCON, we can't even get there. And the players as well. Obviously, our star man Kudus is out injured, so the onus lies on the likes of Inaki Williams, who hit and miss for Ghana. Semenyo, he's going to be my player to watch because he's having the season of his life right now, winning trophies. So he's now a trophy winner, and he simply has to, you know, put Ghana on his back. But we leave a lot of space in that midfield and in behind as well. We've lost 2 of our best centre backs. They will not be at this World Cup. But if you look at another potential player to watch, we have Yerenchi. Many of you may be familiar with him. Young centre mid. He's played right back before as well. So I'm hoping that, you know, alongside him in the midfield, he can help out and alleviate that plugging of the gaps. Now, fun fact, we were the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence back in 1957, for those of us who remember. So, 69 years later, can we defeat the British again? Next up, we have Nigeria. Just kidding. You man ain't there. Sorry. I had to get one bit of banter. Let me continue. This is a serious video. We have Egypt. Now, watching them in AFCON, it was basically get the ball to Marmoush and Salah and pray for the rest. Fun fact, Egypt is known for having pyramids and of course the longest river in the world. But the way this team plays, you'd think there was a massive river and pyramids separating the attack and the defense, because that midfield basically just gets bypassed. Now, their coach, Hossam Hassan, is their all-time top scorer, so surely he will sympathize with Salah and try and get him to be up there in the best possible scoring position. And my player to watch is actually going to be Adel. Now, he might not be someone that starts, right? Ibrahim Adel on the left wing, but he's someone that can alleviate that same burden of getting the ball from midfield up the pitch that Salah maybe can't quite do the same anymore. He's very tricky, very skillful. Next up, we have their arch rivals. 1, 2, 3. Vive l'Algérie. It is a team that loves to get the ball in behind the fullback and the centre back, and they've got good depth when it comes to 1v1 specialists at getting in behind. I look at my player to watch, Mazza, they're calling him Mazzadona. Of course, Red Mahrez, everyone knows what he's on, but he's getting on a little bit now. Even up top, again, they've got Guiri on the graphic here, but Amora, he was banging in goals, scoring 10 in the qualifiers, good in the air. But from watching AFCON in particular, the one weakness, if they face a backline that is strictly P&P, they can struggle. They may get bullied off the ball. The 1v1 specialist gimmick doesn't quite work when you try and take on a man and they bat you away like an insect on the windscreen wiper. Fun fact, Algeria are the largest country in Africa with obviously crazy heat in those desert climates. So it's no wonder that these guys invented iced coffee. But an even greater export, they have given us some fantastic human beings as well, and I'm not talking about Lies Bouzidi. If you know, you know. Now, speaking of 1v1 specialists, we go next to Ivory Coast, where these wingers are going to be fun to watch. Know what you're thinking? Amhad, player to watch after what he's done for United this season? I know, but when he puts on the orange shirt, he becomes a different player, bro. If Diomande class as well, Nicolas Pepe, another 1v1 specialist. Defensively and in midfield, they will do whatever it takes to win that ball back. Fun fact for you guys, the incredible song, Premier Gao, the one that used to go off at every single African house party, was invented, of course, created, made by Magic System, an Ivorian music group. So we'll be hoping to see the Ivorians dance and party their way to the knockouts for the first time in their history. Also, a 5.5-star team, we have Bosnia, a very different style of play. This is boot it up to the two big Balkans up top, hope for the best. Dzeko in his 40s now, still delivering the goods. This is a team that again says forget about the build-up thing. Their whole style of play is from back to front in about 5 seconds, get it up there, especially with our player to watch, Bayrak Terovic. He can take you on 1v1, go outside, inside, get shots off. He's very creative. And that game against Italy, they really showed the intangibles, right? The MMA settings. It's sometimes not about, oh, you're going to play this formation in and out of possession. No. Show me the will and the spirit to win. That win against Italy was an absolute shock to the world, but maybe even bigger, our fun fact for Bosnia, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Bosnia, Sarajevo, to kick off World War I. Now that was a real shock. Next up, we have Paraguay, who had the lowest possession stats of every country in South America qualifying. But listen, they've accepted it. It's part of their DNA, right? Pragmatic, park the bus as the underdogs, and just get the ball forward. That was a lot easier when they had the likes of Roque Santa Cruz, Oscar Cardozo. Now, not so much. Fun fact, we all love about the calabash, but in Paraguay, the calabash is a plant used to make the tea-like drink. We look at it says mate, it's actually called mate, the national beverage of the country. Well, they better be feeding that one right now to Julio Enciso, our player to watch, because just the other day, he got injured in a game, got taken off as a precaution, and we are hoping, fingers crossed, that he can come back fit. Now we have our first 6-star team, is Scotland. This is a team that I'm very, very excited to watch, because a team that's going to have an incredible fan base behind them, backing it, cheering, singing, rocking up with their kilts. And listen, fun fact about Scotland, the Loch Ness Monster was spotted over 1,500 years ago. They've been looking for him ever since. But guess what? They found him. His name is Scott McTominay. The way this guy can leap for his headers or his bicycle kicks, that is a big game player who puts his neck on the line for his nation. The entire midfield is stacked, to be fair. You got McGinn, who just won, of course, the Europa League, consistent as well. Ryan Christie, Bournemouth, qualified for Europa League. The left side's pretty stacked because you got Robertson bombing up and down. But I actually think Kieran Tierney will play as a centre-back. I think they'll do whatever they can to get both of those on the pitch at the same time. And I mentioned how good the fans will be. Well, in yesterday's video, I was seeing guys spamming saying, yo, for those of us who remember shots, bring out a Scotland one. So, just for you guys, I've done it. we've now got a Scotland, for those of us who remember, shirt out there. Of course, you guys, you know, we've got players coming too. Kevin Prince, I've just brought out. The likes of Argentina, Brazil, England, whatnot, Mexico. Very easy. Every country, by the way, you're asking me, can I ship to South Africa? Can I ship here? It's £22 wherever you are. No shipping on top of it because I'm a man of the people. So again, in the comments, let me know what teams you want to see. Link is in the bio. I made all of these, so it's not a brand deal or whatever. It is me. But anyway, let's continue because next up we have Austria, and from these guys, we know what to expect by now. They're coached by, of course, Ralf Rangnick, if you remember, is the godfather of Gegenpress. They were telling us they will press in more of a 4-4-2 and rely on their CBs, of course, Alaba and Danso, to bail them out under pressure if they do lose the ball. Again, they have not really got an out-and-out number 9 bagsman, so a lot of emphasis will be on the likes of Sabitzer and co to get in the box, get in behind and score those goals. My player to watch, Konrad Laimer, obviously at fullback for Bayern, had a great season. He's versatile, right? He'll be someone that is going to be very important to this team. Fun fact, Tiergarten Schönbrunn was opened in 1752 and is the oldest zoo in the world. Why am I telling you that? I don't know how to link that one, sorry. Next up is Sweden. From what we've seen, it's going to be a 3-back and just get the ball up to Isak and Gyökeres anyhow you can. Obviously Isak, not the best season from him, but we know on his day, a top 5 striker in the world, and Gyökeres, of course, he pretty much put the nation on his back to get them to this tournament. But our player to watch is going to be Gustav Lagerbielke, the CB at the other end, who, if you remember, locked up Lewa and then went and scored a bullet header as well. He'll be important in that back three because, of course, everyone knows about Lindelof. A very good end to the season, to be fair, with him and Villa. Isaac Hien as well as solid. The midfield is decent in terms of names, but, you know, getting the ball forward, but going back the other way, there can be a few question marks. Someone that's not on this, you know, formation right now, Elanga. He looks very good for Sweden, I can't lie. So maybe in that yellow shirt, he will offer us something very different. Fun fact about Sweden, they of course invented IKEA back in 1943. So let's hope this team doesn't fold and get flat packed out this tournament when the pressure kicks in. Next up, another one of our hosts, the United States of America. The backline, it is decent. Fullbacks, to be fair, have license to bomb forward and can definitely do that. We've seen Anthony Robinson, to be fair. What a Clayton rocket from Anthony Robinson just yesterday. Dest, again, has the capability to go forward as well. Up front, they've got some pace in there. Folarin Balogun, but the player to watch has to be the LeBron James of soccer, Christian Pulisic. They've been talking about him for the last 4 years. He is the poster boy of American football. Not his best end to a campaign with Milan, but this is time to shine. He has to step up. And this is America, so there's always going to be a heavy emphasis and a bit of a lean into the NFL style set plays or basketball coach routines from set plays, free kicks and so on. Fun fact for you guys about America, over 8 million slices of pizza are served every day, and that number is about to go up because I'm going to America next week. So let me know the best spots. I want to find out where to get the best pizza. Our next one may surprise you. I've got Croatia, who FIFA rank 11th, but I've got 20th in my ranking here. Let me explain to you why, with a bit of a fun fact, if you will. Game of Thrones, King's Landing in particular, was filmed, of course, in Croatia. It's in the medieval times, that it's set, you know, hundreds, thousands of years ago. But if you look closely in the background, for the background actors, you can see Modric, Perisic and Kovacic still playing. And that's how many years ago they're still playing to this day. It's time to go towards the youth. Now, granted, the backline is definitely very useful. Stanisic, however, had a very iffy season. And again, in the Champions League, wee. However, our player to watch has to be Martin Baturina. He's someone that will definitely inject some youthful energy into this team. It's not a bad team whatsoever. I just worry in terms of them getting pressed in that midfield. I think those back-to-back semi-finals was as good as it gets for Croatia. Next up, we have everyone's favourite dark horses. Turkey, up in 19th. Now, here's one thing. People always say, yo, dark horse, and then they get let down. But maybe, as everyone's selling their stocks in Turkey, it's time to buy. Because they've got Arda Güler and they've got Kenan Yildiz. Now, me personally, I've gone with Arda Güler. Listen, to be fair, it's a bit of a coin flip. And fun fact for you guys, the first ever coin in the world was minted in Turkey by the Lydians. So big up them for making all the coins. I think Arda Güler showed it a bit more in bigger games for Madrid than Yildiz has for Juve. But it's a very creative team. Even if Yilmaz is playing, Çalhanoğlu can provide creativity from deep. Even the fullbacks love to get forward. You see Kadioglu bombing up and down for club and country. The centre backs, I'll be real, I'm not too sure on. I have not forgotten Bodaci against Portugal, but for whatever I guess, fragile elements they show defensively, they make up for it in the other box, being deadly and ruthless from set pieces. And whilst everyone's got 11 players, these men have a genuine 12th man behind them, because those Turkish fans are incredible at every tournament. But from supporters and players all being one tight-knit unit, we go to Uruguay, who are maybe the complete opposite of that. Now, here's a fun fact for you guys. Uruguay are the largest consumers of beef per person of any country. They love beef. And listen, as a Ghanaian, I know as well. Uruguay v Ghana, we've had beef in the past. Obviously, Bielsa is the coach. There's beef about should he be in charge. I think all will rest on the impact of Fede Valverde, right? I say player to watch, you have no choice, because he will be everywhere. Up front, on the wing, fullback, midfield. Speaking of versatility, another player to look out for, Araujo, not that one, Max Araujo, someone that he can play right back, he can play left back, he's played as a winger and put up numbers as well. So for Bielsa, someone like that, who loves those speedy attacks, high press, take risks to whip it in to Darwin Núñez, he will be invaluable in my opinion. The only downside, of course, you know who it is, Ugarte. Switzerland, on the other hand, have a great midfield. You look at the likes of Granit Xhaka, of course, fantastic season. We have Freuler as well, very experienced. I mean, the whole Switzerland team has a lot of experience about them, to be fair. My player to watch is Johan Manzambi, a midfielder, 20 years old, very creative. Someone that can offer a bit of dynamism to what can oftentimes be a bit of a rigid structure, right? We used to rely on Shaqiri doing the out wide. Again, another one I'm going to mention here. The front three, you will have no idea what they're doing in the season, but they'll turn up for the Euros, for the World Cup, and ball out. To be fair, Ndoye, we've seen him in the Prem, but again, not his best. Mbolo, who knows where he is nowadays? I don't know, but guess what? He'll end up scoring goals for Switzerland. I'm watching the tapes and I've realized, hold on a minute, what is Rodriguez still doing there in 2026? This is their 6th World Cup in a row now, Switzerland, and they always seem to be quite fun to watch. They get out the groups, but then they just fall at the last 16. And I think, you know what it is? It's like they've got a very high floor, but the ceiling is lacking a little bit. They've not got any superstar talents to carry them and provide them those magical moments. Fun fact about Switzerland, they've done a lot of good things for this world, right? Forget about them being neutral or whatever. They've given us, you know, some fantastic chocolate. Of course, Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web in Switzerland. So without him, you know, we wouldn't be here making this video. And hey, their flag's a big plus. No? Tough crowd. On to the 7 stars, we have our last host, Mexico, and our player to watch. If you've been watching me, you'll remember last summer I made a video, the best player of every age, and I mentioned a certain Gilberto Mora. Well, he's become a regular starter for Tijuana, and I'm hoping to have a big impact here, but it's going to be heavily reliant on their wingers, because they love to play the 4-3-3. It is their heritage. If you remember, like Lozano days, get the ball out wide, whipping those crosses to either Jimenez or Jimenez, right? We've got Raul Jimenez, the one that suddenly his head got packed in, and then the one that, you know, was banging in Eredivisie, went to Milan. As far as I'm concerned, they've got the best kits. They may even have the best fans. And this is a fun fact that's football related. Mexico have reached the quarters twice in their history. 1970, when they hosted, and again in 1986, when they hosted. Does that mean another team who loves to play wide? Colombia, who are going to, of course, be heavily relying on their player to watch, Luis Diaz. Again, this is not a player that's, I'm not just doing, the youngest player or whatever. It's a player that's going to be extremely crucial to their team. He is their best player, of course, taking the keys from James Rodriguez. In fact, I remember when I was in Colombia for the 2018 World Cup, it was like a day of mourning when they found out he was injured, right? Every other day, everyone, man, woman, dog, is getting on the train wearing the yellow Colombia kit. When he missed the game, the nation was silent, bro. I was in Medellin, it was silent, bro. He'll be orchestrating for that one last dance. But as I mentioned, Luis Diaz, great season for Bayern, but can you be the #1 guy when your country needs you? They struggle a little bit defensively, and up top has been a bit of controversy as well. Obviously, would have loved to see John Duran in a World Cup tournament. That would have been perfect for him. But listen, sure, it's no Falcao, but Luis Suarez, the good one, not that Uruguay guy, he's been putting up numbers for Sporting, so maybe he can carry on his good season's form into the World Cup. Fun fact, Colombia is #1 most biodiverse country in bird life, and everyone loves Colombian birds. And from birds, we go to the chameleon team of Ecuador. Their coach, if you're unfamiliar, worked under Sampaoli. He idolizes him, Bielsa as well, so you know they can give you any kind of game. With aggressive 1v1s out wide to feed, Enner Valencia still going strong at 36 years of age. I can see why many guys are saying they're a dark horse, because their defense is absolutely insane. I mean, you're having Pacho, Hincapié. Fun fact about Ecuador, their country is named after the equator, the line around, you know, the entire middle of the earth. 40,000 kilometers. Well, my player to watch is Caicedo, because he's going to need to return to those first half of the season and last season levels at Chelsea, just covering every blade of grass around the entire middle. When he's playing at his best, he looks like he's about 3 players in there compared to the other guys who'll be putting the towels on their head and having ice on their hand to recover. 13 clean sheets in their 18 qualifying games. This is definitely a good team. I'm not going to spoil how far I've got them going, but of course, subscribe and wait for tomorrow's predictions video. We've got another dark horse up next that many people are loving this year. It is, of course, Japan, one of the best teams, if not the best team, in fact, in the Asian qualifiers. Flying wingers as wingbacks. Normally, you look at a 3-back, you're thinking, okay, the left wing back and right wing back, they're going to be defensive minded. Not in this team. They get just wingers, chuck them out wide and say, yo, do some running. And listen, we know, of course, our fun fact for Japan, it goes without saying, they are the home of anime, the founders of anime, your Dragon Ball Z's, Naruto's and co. So it is no shock that their culture is just, hard work, battle, fight for each other. But they've got a lot of technical ability as well. They have honed their skills. And me personally, I'll be looking to see Tanaka and Kamada in midfield. My player to watch, given that Mitomo, of course, is injured, that's a really, really unfortunate one. I'm going to go with Maeda of Celtic, who, again, ended the season very strong. They basically had lost the league to Hearts. He turned up and said, nuh-uh, not on my watch. 12th place, we have Morocco, the team that made it the furthest of any African nation in history. They're back off of, let's say an AFCON win, an AFCON final, let's say. Mohamed Ouabi is a bit more of an attacking coach than, of course, their legendary Regragui, who, of course, left after the last World Cup. But they've got very technical ballers that can definitely help with that. The likes of Saibari, either up top or on the wing. El Canous again. With that back four on the goalkeeper, they've got a very solid foundation. My player to watch, however, is going to be a youngster. I've got Ayu Buadi, who is going to be, well, I say him knocking on the doors. Rather, his agent will be knocking on doors of the likes of PSG and Arsenal after this tournament. Hakimi's back fit, and fun fact for you guys about Morocco, it is the home of the world's oldest university. The University of Al Qarawiyyin opened in 859 AD, for those of us who remember. Well, they'll be hoping that these players have learned something from their last World Cup, where, of course, they finished 4th place. And it's only right that next to them we go with Senegal, the AFCON winners, you could potentially say. I don't know what you want to say. What I will say, however, is that this team, as an 11, can go toe-to-toe with anyone, especially in these hot conditions. They can go to war with you on a, competitive, let's battle in midfield. They've got 1v1 specialists, demons even. Skilliman and Jai, our player to watch. Again, he can track back defensively, which is important these days, but going forward, can take you on the outside, inside, left foot, right foot. On the back line, if Koulibaly is available, we're not sure if he's actually going to be in the team. Regardless, it is a strong, strong team. And fun fact for you about Senegal, the fishermen keep on getting packed in by killer hippopotamuses in the rivers. Why am I telling you this again? How do I link it? I don't. I just like that fact. I mentioned Group I being the group of death. And next, into our top 10, we have Norway, who, of course, are up here predominantly because of Erling Braut Haaland. He's itching to go, bro. He's raring to go. It's his first World Cup. Who knows if it's going to be his last World Cup? In transitions, we know he's a machine. Even Soloff, if they go 2 up top or Soloff out wide, however they run it, we've seen Soloff against Barca, but they've also got a lot of ways to unlock teams, right? It's not going to be a team that get the ball wide, spam crosses. No, Nusa can do that. Out wide, he can do a little 1v1 thing, cutbacks, crosses, get shots off himself. Martin Odegaard, intricate through balls, in behind. Erling Haaland points, not even points. Erling Haaland looks, forget even looks, they're telepathic. Erling Haaland thinks about making a run, Odegaard has found him. And that is going to be a very deadly combination. Fun fact, Norway invented skiing over 4,000 years ago, and in this group of death, they're going to need to remain ice cold, calm, and composed in front of goal. And if they go a goal down, don't worry. When Erling Haaland's on your team, the game is never over. Next up, we go Belgium, who are going to be running a 4-2-3-1. Listen, they've got a lot of good profiles, but Wagwan for the fitness. Lukaku, we're never sure if he's fully fit or not. Kevin De Bruyne, is he ready and raring to go again? A lot of Belgium's successes are going to be down to our player to watch, Jeremy Doku. He's now adding end products, finishing to that. So it's a very versatile bunch, but one thing's for certain, they will have that Aston Villa chemistry between Onana and Tielemans, Europa League winners. The backline's a little bit smelly, but that's why Doku's so important. One thing about him not putting up numbers for City is that you can see him playing and think, you know what? He drags this team 20, 30 yards forward with his bare hands, or I guess his bare foot, if you will. Fun fact, he may have not actually known. Belgium were in fact the ones. We speak about the waffles and whatnot. These guys invented French fries in the 1600s. Now, with the way that the old players are moving right now, the golden gen might be on its last legs, and it might be time to put those Belgian fries in the bag. Netherlands up next. This one was a tricky one to rank. The players they've got really, really, really good. Ronald Koeman as a manager, not so much. But, you know, we start up top. Daniel Marlin's been incredible for Roma in 2026. Gakpo, again, wearing the orange shirt, balls out. If Somerville plays, he'll be looking to prove himself. And speaking of proving themselves, my player to watch is Reinders. Now remember, this is not me saying who's going to be the best player or the young player to break out. It's a player to watch because I feel as though a lot of the Dutch success will be heavily reliant on him. He has played well for Netherlands in the past, but him and Grav as well, to be fair, haven't had the best of seasons. The back line, to be fair, they're stacked, bro. They've got centre-backs and full-backs for days. You look at these defenders and even the midfielder, you think, damn, if only Cruyff had these guys behind them, maybe they could have got over the line and finally won that World Cup. Fun fact for you about the Netherlands, they have more bicycles, 22 million, than human beings in the country, 18 million. So maybe, on that topic, from the tallest nation in the world for average height, we might see a cheeky bicycle from the Dutch. Into 7th, we have Germany. Again, on paper, in this 4-2-3-1, it's a fantastic team. But let's not forget, fun fact, Germany is famous for the poets and the thinkers, the artists, you know? Mozart, Beethoven, Einstein as a thinker. But the creators behind Havertz this season aren't really up to par, bro. Musiala hasn't come back from injury well. Florian Wirtz, really, really underwhelming season. Leroy Sané, not even a guaranteed starter in Turkey. The centre-backs, no problems there, but I think a player to watch, Angelo Silla. I reckon there'll be a point in the tournament where they say, yo, this guy needs to be playing. In 6th place, we have Brazil. Now, this one, we don't need any tactical analysis of 4-2-3-1. It's just Carlo Ancelotti, eyebrow, and the power of friendship to go out there and have fun. Listen, there's a lot of pressure on many, many players here, right? Vinny and Rafinha at some point must deliver for their nation. But my player to watch, Endrick. I think Endrick will end up having a starting spot for Brazil. Obviously, massive, massive question. Will Neymar be fit for any games? We don't know, so I can't really put him in the 11. Brazil love to have their fullbacks, you know, bombing up and down. But the problem is, this ain't the days of, you know, Dani Alves, and then you have Marcelo. It's Alexandro and Wesley in 2026. So it's going to leave a lot of work for Gabriel Marquinhos to be covering that back line. But as always, the World Cup, in my eyes, don't kick off till Brazil play. I love watching them play. I'm excited. Hopefully they'll put on a bit of a show for us again. In 5th, we have their arch rivals and defending champions, Argentina, hoping to go back-to-back. Listen, this team, the midfield does concern me a little bit, right? It's basically going to be a game of get the ball, vertical pass it to Julian Alvarez, to Lionel Messi, and try and get guys in and around for the cutbacks. But I worry for Enzo Fernandez, and in particular, McAllister. I think they can definitely get overrun. So my player to watch is going to be Nico Paz. I think he'll be important. He'll be the guy that they look to get the ball to try and get from, again, defense and midfield to link up the attack. Even if it's off the bench, right? Because listen, he had a great year for Como. Now the back line, again, I worry. Otamendi and Romero, that is as rash as it gets. You're just hoping they don't give away any pens. But speaking of pens, fun fact, Argentina are the nation that invented ballpoint pens. So they'll be hoping for some pens of their own so that they can try and get to the final yet again. In 4th, we have Portugal, one of the most confusing 11s to try and make, because who knows how they're actually going to operate, right? You look at the front three in particular. Ronaldo, of course, their greatest player ever, but he's 41. He needs to allow other guys to have the reins. But then again, you look at it and you think, Goncalo Ramos, do I really trust you that much? Especially when behind him, Rafael Leao, again, incredible in general. Last World Cup, I remember him banging it against Ghana and smiling when he scored against us. But this year, really, really bad. Just got a red card, in fact, in a friendly game. Neto, on the other hand, poor from him again this season. They may end up going with Goncalo Ramos and 2 wide midfielders, right? They might go, I don't know, Bernardo Silva. They might even play Bruno out wide and hope that Vitinha and João Neves, for me, the best midfield duo in the world right now, can just carry that midfield. My concern is that the fullbacks here, especially, you know, no mention Champions League, Cancelo, wherever he's been, they like to invert. So they need the wingers to be high and wide. So I'm not sure how they're going to operate. Fun fact for you guys, Portugal is the oldest nation state in Europe, retaining its unchanged border since 1139, for those of us who remember. So it's been a long, long time, and they still haven't won the World Cup. Could this be the year? We shall see. Another country desperate for a World Cup, England, in our 3rd place. I mean, listen, you look at the team on paper, again, it's class. Thomas Tuchel appears to know exactly what he wants. He wants to platform Kane, their best player, our player to watch, in the best way possible, to have guys either side of him. I've got Rashford probably starting on there. Saka, not the quickest, but he can play in behind, or to feet, link up with Kane as well. And if it is Rashford, Kane, Saka, that is 3 current league title winners, so good experience there for them. Bellingham, we know he can deliver in big games. Same for Declan Rice. Elliot Anderson, we don't know yet, but I still believe, based on what we've seen for Forest, he can definitely do so. Or even Kobe Mainoo can come in here and there. The backline, they're chilling. But I mentioned Kane before. It is all down to him. We know, listen, if England do something at this tournament, he will win Ballon d'Or. He is #1 frontrunner as things stand before the World Cup. He has to deliver. My concern is that he'll put up numbers, he'll go and grab a couple against Panama, against Ghana, maybe 1 against Croatia. But then when the light shine brightest, we know what's going to happen, bro. He's going to go into midfield and start thinking he's Pirlo and just pinging diagonals. And I'm thinking, bro, get in the box. Our fun fact for you about England: football, of course. They talk about it's coming home. Well, it was invented by the English in 1863. That is the actual, I guess, association of football with rules and whatnot. We're not going back centuries to China where they were kicking the ball through the hole. That's not football as far as I'm concerned. That's a different sport entirely. They invented football but haven't seen a World Cup since 1966. Could it be the time? We'll see. In second place, we have Spain. Yamal is going to be our player to watch. Of course he is. He lit up the Euros. One slight concern: is he fit? How much of an impact can he have on this Spanish team? Because they kind of need him, I can't lie. The front 3, I'm not overly keen. It's not been Nico Williams', best season. Up top, sure, Ferran Torres, he puts up numbers. Is he a 9? For me, not really. Oyarzabal as well. Is he a 9? Not really. Mikel Merino, he can play as a 9, but they don't have like their Torres, their David Villa, their Butragueño. They don't have any of these like super out-and-out 9s. But the midfield, no question marks there. Pedri will be class. Rodri, if his ankles and knees and stuff are functioning on the American pitches, he'll be class. Fabian Ruiz, Champions League winner, back-to-back. The team will get a lot of his width as well from the fullbacks. Cucurella, he'll get high and wide. Llorente, we know he has energy for days with his orange or blue glasses. A fun fact for you: Spain produce 50% of the world's olive oil. Unfortunately, all of it was used up by Adama Traore when he was at La Masia, wiping his arms. But that's not important. What is important is our #1, my personal best team in this tournament. Not necessarily who I think was going to win it. We'll find out tomorrow. But the best team, the best squad at this tournament is, of course, France #1. I mean, everyone says it. Their second team can slap up most people's team. The lack of 10 stars for me is the fullbacks. Koundé is shocking, and Theo Hernandez in the big 2026, I'm not sure. But that front 4, whether it's Mbappe left, Dembele up top, Olise on the right, Cherki 10, incredible. But Cherki, for me, is the player to watch. He'll be the one that will like sacrifice himself a little bit. I'm happy to be the creator. Whereas Mbappe, Dembele, there might be a bit of a conversation. Olise, nonchalant stuff. When it comes to that front 4, I'm not sure Deschamps has any say in terms of how they play, right? It's just going to be 4-2-3-1, and the front 4, you do your own chaos thing that they've been doing for years now. Whether it was, Pogba and Benzema up there, and obviously Mbappe and then Giroud, as if it's, secondary school lunchtime footy. Now, I believe their midfield is low-key underrated as well, right? It might be Rabiot, Tchouaméni. I'd like to see Zaire Emery playing there as well. I don't think it's as bad as guys are saying. This is a team that is deadly in transitions, bro. You lose the ball against this team, start packing your bags. Fun fact for you guys about France: France is the most visited country in the world by tourists. 100 million tourists every year. And whenever France play, people are going to be locked in. 100 million people will be on their very legal live streams, if you know what I mean, locked in to watch the Dembele, Mbappe, Olise, Cherki quadruple up top. Will they win it? Like I said, find out tomorrow. That's been my breakdown of every single team at the World Cup. I repeat, this took me days upon days. So if you appreciate how much effort this took, like the video, spam as many comments. Put 10 comments if you like, not 1. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We've got about 3 or 4 more World Cup videos. Then I'm flying to America to get even more content for you guys on the ground at the stadium. So thank you lot for always supporting. Without you lot, I wouldn't be able to go to such a wonderful, wonderful event. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Have a blessed time. In a bit, bosh.